Today's video is sponsored by Land Air Sea. Keep tabs on all your valuable assets from the palm of your hand. Remember, with Land Air Sea, theft is temporary. Visit landairSea.com to order your Land Air Sea GPS unit for your classic vehicle.
Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Jeff with the Collector Car Network, and we're here at Superformance, and this is Lance of Superformance, and we're going to be taking a look at two different Cobras today that you guys build, right? We've got a narrow body and a wide body car, so walk us through what we're looking at here, Lance.
Okay, so yeah, you're basically looking at where the Cobra started back in 1962. You know, Carroll was looking to get a race car, to do a car for, well, he was actually thinking for Chevrolet initially, and he first approached Chevrolet for an engine, and they didn't accept it. And he had heard about Ace had lost their engine supplier, and he thought, well, if I can get a nice V8 in this, I'll have a car to come and race in America with. And he approached them, and everybody knows the story, how he really didn't have the money to buy any of them, so he told them he had a Ford deal for engines, and if they supplied him a car, or built a car for him, and they said yes, and he went to Ford and said, I've got the ACA's cars, and if you supply me an engine, a couple of engines, and that's how the whole story started.
Yeah, he's quite the salesman.
And the rest is the greatest history ever. The most famous race cars, probably, of the 60s, definitely, and they're carrying on to this day. The little 289 was a 3-inch round tube frame car. It's still got a transverse leaf front suspension. It's got shocks in the back. Great little car to drive, and it started it all. You get that English car feel, but with American power. So when do you get better? And we all know about a lot of the Italian sports cars. They had the sexy look, but their engines were so unreliable. And then companies used V8s in them, Ford V8s and Chevy V8s, and they had a reliable car. And that's what this was. And as everybody knows now, since the movie Ford versus Ferrari, these cars have really come to light, and Superformance supplied all the GT40s, Daytonas, and of course all the Cobras that are moving. There were a couple of other GT40s from another company that was used for more of the smashing scenes and stuff like that, but ours are a little too pretty and too good to do that with. But the cars you see Ken Miles in, and you see
all those
Henry
main
Ford
screen
in the
usage
car,
cars,
and all the rest of that, those were the Superformance GT40s and Mark 1 and Mark 2. And we supplied, I think it was 4 or 5 of their little slab sides. Okay. They were all wrapped white, and then we wrapped the one blue to look like Carroll's car, and that's what Matt Damon drove, Carroll Shelby drove in the movie. And then the little white one where Ken Miles drove, there were 3 of them that we used for different scenes. They were there, and then we had Dave McDonald's car, which was actually driven by his son, Rich McDonald, who works for us in Southern California. Okay. And Rich was very involved with getting this all done, all the liaisoning with the movie company and arranging the cars and being on the film set. He was a trooper. Rich was I can't tell you how many hours he spent just to get this correct. And of course he's a history buff. He knows everything that happened. The only sad thing we take from the movie, and we love the movie was excellent. I think I'm at 7 times now that I've seen the movie, and my wife even has seen it 3 times with me. She does not like car movies, but she loves that movie.
She sat through it. Yeah, that's good.
She loves the movie. But in the first scene where you see Ken Miles passing Dave McDonald in the red Cobra, and there's smoke coming from the red Cobra, he says, Dave, get out of the way, and they show Ken Miles winning it. Well, in history, the truth is, Ken didn't win that race. Dave McDonald won that race back in the 60s. He won the first Cobra race for Carroll, he won the first Daytona race for Carroll, and he won the first King Cobra race for Carroll Shelby. And unfortunately, he died in 65, I believe it was, in Indianapolis in a over 200 mile an hour Indy car. But if he hadn't, the movie would have probably been about Dave McDonald, because he was younger than Ken, and I believe he was faster at the time. So that's the interesting thing about the little 289 Cobra that started it all. And I could show you a few little things about it.
It's absolutely.
Just the coolest look. So originally it wouldn't have had the Webbers on. The slab side just had a small 4-barrel carburetor on it. Originally with a 260, and then they developed to the 289. And there's your trans-leaf spring in the front, everything done correctly. This is a proper Shelby. We build all the cars for Shelby also, the 60s cars, and they come with a CSX number. This car is CSX 8000,
which is the actual Shelby VINs.
VINs numbers. The MSOs come from Shelby. The cars are in the Shelby registry. We build the CSX 2000, CSX 4, 6, 7 and 8,000 plus the CSX 9000, which is the Daytona. So we build all of them. The CSX 3000s are done by a company called Dembesti. He builds beautiful aluminum CSX 3000s, great cars, good company to deal with. And that's the background there. And of course, we use a lot of Shelby engines in the Shelbys. Most owners that buy Shelby want to buy an engine from Shelby Engine Company, and we've sold hundreds of them, if not thousands. Inside, you can see pretty correct, everything done, right down to the little clock that it had, all done correctly.
Yeah, this is really nice.
We offer this car in both aluminum and fiberglass.
Oh wow! Okay.
This particular one is a fiberglass. Yeah, this is a fiberglass car. This was the 20th anniversary 289 Cobra. We launched them at Barrett Jackson in 2012 and sold them all in about 48 hours. 50 of them sold.
Wow.
All gone.
Yeah, that's.
And then we had to build them. So.
So this has some special badging on it, then,
yes,
right?
It's got the
commemorate that
50th anniversary badging on the side and on the speedometer, and of course the mats. No, these are not the 50th mats. They're not in here at the moment. Little wire wheels. Fun car to drive. I have so many different guys coming and driving all the different Cobras, and I always steer them to like a Mark III Superformance. It's coilover, it's comfortable, it's a great driving car. And then the last car is an original Shelby with a leaf spring, and I think, these guys are not going to understand this. And you won't believe it. They get up with a smile this long. Man, that's real drive. You feel like you've driven a car, you're getting the real feel. I mean, I love our new cars. They're absolutely amazing, and as some of them can drive themselves nowadays.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. You don't get the thrill. You don't park the car and say, man, I did something. You went to go buy the milk, and that's all you did. There's no excitement like driving a real car. And you only have to drive it for an hour. You can drive it longer if you want to. But after an hour, you've got a sensation, you've got a thrill, you can sit down and relax.
Yeah.
It's the real feel. And of course, it progressed to the FIA, which I don't have a picture of right here. Well, actually, was a Sebring Cobra was developed off this, and we do the Sebring Cobra for Shelby also. We did 15 special editions, and they're all sold immediately. Beautiful looking car, and eventually it ended up with the FIA. After the Sebring Cobra, still 3-inch round tube frame, just got a little bit wider, and that was the big boss that came in '64, the 427. And I'm happy that I've met most of the guys from Shelby that hadn't passed away in the early days that worked on these cars and how this came about, and it is just the craziest thing. And the most powerful car those days, 0 to 100 and back, up until the Porsche Turbo did it with better braking. It still wasn't faster to 6 to 100 mile an hour. The 427 Cobra, of course, came with the 4-inch round tube frame. It's wider, it had the bigger tires. They all had the good old, let me go this side and show you, the big monster 427 FE in it, and this one is no different. In this case, the customer has asked for fuel injection, which wouldn't have been on the original cars. These had 4 barrels on them, big 4 barrels, and then they also raced with dual quads. But this is a Shelby engines, done by Shelby Engines. It's an aluminum block version. Easily over 600 horsepower without any effort, and very close to 600 pound-foot of torque, and that's on pump gas.
Wow.
Crazy fast car, gives you that real feel when you drive it. It's a monster.
Yeah.
That's not a monster. This is a monster. This is a monster. And our most popular of the Cobras we do is the 427. Everybody loves the 427 Cobra.
And they're engineered to fit a variety of engines as well, right?
So yes, this car, I mean, we've had customers that have, we built a 1,000 horsepower version one year and showed it at SEMA, and it had the GT 500 engine in of the day with a supercharger.
Okay.
Big Kenny Bell supercharger.
That's the 5.4?
It was a 5.4, yeah. So it will take that. But I will say the guys who buy the Shelby Cobras from us, the CSX 6000s and 4000s in aluminum or fiberglass, they tend to go period correct.
Sure.
With the right engine. I've got some guys, I've got a guy with a Cammer in, a Boss engine in, and that's a monster in the car. But basically everybody goes with a Shelby engines or an original old school iron block 427 when it's one of these. When they do a Superformance car, which is a different body, it's not the same same frame. It's a rectangular tube frame. You know, people thought that I just took the Super Performance and put a Shelby badge on. It's not. Nothing on this car fits on that car apart from the wheels. And even that's not. These are 6 lug behind the pin drive. It's a pin drive wheel with 6 pins behind it. Those are 5. So nothing is the same. And this has even the old school Salisbury style differential in it. Everything that the original Shelby had, we do everything the same.
Okay, so you would say if somebody was looking for, I guess, that vintage car experience, they should go here, but maybe if they're looking for a modern hot rod or a track car, maybe you'd steer them towards the Super Performance car?
Yeah, if the Super Performance car is a little cheaper. We've built over 3,700 Super Performance cars. We've done about 1,500 Shelbys. So we've been building the Super Performance car longer. Super Performance is 30 years old this year. We're pumping out a lot of cars out of the factory. They're really popular. We've got this wonderful wait list, which is so nice at the moment, nearly 2 years on most of the models and even longer on the Corvette Grand Sport and the Shelby Daytona. But that gives you a basic idea of the 289 to the 427 and the very exciting car, the 427s. The movies were made of this car. Not as successful racing because by then Carroll had moved on to the Daytona. They were faster on the straights in the long tracks. And after that he'd moved over to the GT40 for Ford. So this car didn't get a lot of limelight on the racetracks, but where they did go, they were good. They were good.
Yeah, so you guys sell examples of the Cobras, obviously. Then, as you mentioned, the cars that they moved on to, you guys also produce and build as well, right? So a fair variety of whatever Cobra they're choosing for. So if people are interested in purchasing a Cobra, what is the best way to get in touch with you guys?
So we have a website, ShelbyLegendaryCars.com, ShelbyLegendaryCars.com, or you can go to the Superperformance website.com. There will be a link across to Shelby Legendary Cars, and it lists all the Shelby editions that we do from the CSX 2000 all the way up to the CSX 9000. The cars we don't build are the 3000 series and the 5000, which was the little Series 1 car that Carroll did. But we build everything else. And it'll also have the Shelby Edition GT40s on that website, because we have a Super Performance version of the GT40 and then we have Shelby specific editions commemorating the cars that won Le Mans in 66 and 60. We don't do the 67 Mark IV GT40, but we do the 68 and 69 tool room copy. But I'll tell you more about that in the next video. And that's where you can get yourself a Super Performance, Shelby Cobra, sorry.
Which will come with the CSX as well.
And come with a CSX number, CSX certificate. We do have Carroll's signature. It is digitized, but it's on your MSO. And most of my owners are so proud of getting that. They frame it and they keep it because this is a special car. And the other side of it is I started doing these cars, the Shelby versions, about 17 years ago. We're selling them for close to triple what we sold them for back 17 years ago. So even a modern day Shelby from us is going up in value. Yeah,
which I mean makes sense, right? Because the original cars from the 60s now are well into the multiple millions.
Multiple millions. And we have finally, as I might allude in the other video, one of our Daytonas, fiberglass Daytona, but it was owned by Carroll. We built the car for Carroll, sold for $1 million. So there's now a modern day Daytona that's hit $1 million.
There you go. Cobra was approved by Carroll himself as well.
Yeah.
Very cool. So that's a quick look at the two Cobras, both the narrow body, the wide body, and of course we even looked a little bit at the Super Performance car as well. So that's going to be the end of the video. Thanks so much for walking us through those cars, Lance. If you guys enjoyed that video, could hit that like button for us. We really appreciate it. And consider subscribing for more cars like this. Of course, don't forget to check out Super Performance, and thank you so much for watching.